You're listening to She Means Business, a podcast of 4 women realtors, each with unique business models, who came together to establish a supportive community. We are here to offer valuable resources and break down barriers that we face within the industry.
Hey guys, welcome back to She Means Business. Today we're talking with one of my favorite lenders, Tyler Wiltse. He's been at Cambria Mortgage for 18 years, he's been a lender for 18 years, but at Cambria for 12, right?
Yes,
did I get that
correct.
right? Okay, good job. Well, thank you for being here. We appreciate you taking time out of your day and answering some questions about the lending world, because a lot of realtors want to know more.
Sure.
So I guess we'll kind of just dive right in. So kind of what are you seeing in the current market as far as challenges? I mean, is it interest rates? Is it?
Yeah, I mean, I would say to me the greatest challenge that borrowers are having right now is the media.
The media.
The media is consistently telling them that,
the fear.
It's not the right time to buy, or wait until the rates come down. Well, I believe that if rates come down, the prices are going to go up.
Skyrocket.
You're going to have multiple offer situations. So I would say that it's really important for people when they're looking at purchasing to make sure that it's a right time for them to buy.
Right.
And for them to think about, can I make this work? Mm-hmm. Interest rates are going to ebb and flow. They might go up. There's a really good chance that they're going to go down. But if a borrower has the opportunity of acquiring a home now, their home value is going to always go up.
Always.
Oddly enough, the stock market, these companies that are a very valuable part of the stock market are purchasing homes separately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
So if they're purchasing, I think more people should be purchasing as
they
well.
don't want us, the common man purchasing.
Yeah.
All the big companies want to take it over.
Yeah, my husband and I always purchase this time of year, and even people are don't buy right now. We're closing on another place on November 30th because we don't have the competition. In the fall, it tends to be easier to buy. You don't have the competition. Sometimes prices go down a little bit in the fall. We don't care about the rate. One day maybe we'll refinance. If not,
but you can negotiate. Much more.
You can, yes, and that's what we did. We negotiated our rate and.
Did you negotiate the price?
We did negotiate the
Yes.
price.
Okay.
And I would say even
Ashley's doing the
season.
same.
Yep.
She might be doing the same unit
jump
right
on
next
that
to us too. So, see, real estate agents this is when Ben and I buy our rental properties are in the fall. So,
When you can ask for things like inspections and things like that,
Yeah.
because when the chaos hit, however long ago, it was just you had to void your inspection. You had to bid $50,000 over asking. You had to put an appraisal gap clause. It was all these things. You're basically throwing out any of your power.
Well, nobody wants to move
Correct.
in the winter in Minnesota.
Correct. Right.
Let's
Unless
call
you're
a
an
spade a
investor.
spade.
Yeah.
However, I did, and it was the
I did
best
too.
decision.
I did twice.
Yeah.
I really look at this as an awesome time to buy, because the most valuable things in a home, or the most expensive things in a home, you get to know more about them when purchasing in the winter. When you get an inspection done and you get to know that the furnace is working, and that, the ducts are clean, and that, the windows don't bring in, additional air, and you get to know that you have a fully functioning home. In the summer, it's a great time to buy too, but a lot of people just get caught of how beautiful Minnesota summers are. They see the green grass, they see the flowers, and they don't really look at the functionality of the home, where buying right now is an incredible opportunity to do so. And to your point about seller concessions, this is a great time to really negotiate, because if the sellers aren't selling it now, there's a good chance they're not selling it until April.
Yeah.
So if you have buyers that are looking at purchasing homes right now, it's an awesome time to buy.
Well, and I love what you said too, is kind of what's been the biggest challenge. You said the media, because right before we started this podcast, Ashley, we went to a EXP rally, what was that, a week ago?
Yeah.
But they were saying how every single year there has been a new media fear-mongering reason not to buy a house. And every year it's something different. And so this year it just happens to be interest rates. But
right, there's always gonna
they
be
ebb and
something.
flow, you guys.
They're not gonna be
they go up and down.
Rainbows and butterflies,
Yeah.
perfect time. Why would they ever do that? Who would that benefit?
I think-
There's just no rhyme or reason to that.
I think
so.
the Lord, Ben and I never listened to anyone about not buying rental properties. Because when we started in 2015, everyone was like, don't. They will go wrong. Something always happens, whatever.
Yep.
The prices are not the lowest they should be. They're growing up. They're trending up. And now the ones we bought in 2015, 17 are double the price.
I know.
Thank the Lord I did not listen to the people that were constantly telling me not to do this. And I had a couple of people in my corner telling me the opposite, to do it, and that it was a good time. So
And to your point, oddly enough, rental costs have gone up.
Yeah.
Oh, for
Costs
sure.
of living have
Yeah.
gone up.
Yes.
So the people that
Drastically.
acquired
Yeah.
in those times now get to see that, even though their property taxes have gone up and maybe insurance has gone up, they're able to, make money off of these properties. And yeah, I don't know. I just find it very interesting that we don't personally look at our own situation when buying. We ask other people
Yes.
if it makes sense.
I know.
It's like you got to discuss with your family if this is the time,
Yep.
and you move on.
And not be with a pushy salesperson, and then
Right,
you're
I was gonna
fine.
say
Yeah.
that fine line of like we're the professional, but like
Yep.
how do we like address someone and not just seem like we really want to make a sale? It's like no, like we actually like
It
know
doesn't
the
make sense for
facts,
you right
like,
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I have a client where it's like we've been working together for 14 months. I'm like, now it makes sense for you guys to buy financially. Back then, it didn't. You guys just would have been house poor and, just hurting yourselves. So it just, yeah.
What a good real estate agent. I have a question for you that everybody's probably tuning in to hear.
Right.
You probably already know where I'm going with this. What do you see going on with the rates in the next 6 months?
I see that the Fed really dictates the mortgage rate. Now, in the last 6 months, mortgage rates have gone up faster than the Fed raised rates. And the reason for that is that mortgage companies didn't know when the Fed was going to feel comfortable with stopping raising. Now, the Fed has come out multiple times and said, we feel good at our current state, but we don't feel like cutting right now. We don't really feel comfortable doing it. But you now see mortgage rates going down 0.6% in the last 2 months
Yeah.
because mortgage companies are like, well, if the Fed's feeling comfortable where rates are, we can correspondingly do that too. So you're seeing more affordability out there. You're seeing that payments are lower, but there's so many different barriers of entry to borrowers right now. They don't necessarily have all the cash to put down. So, a lower interest rate provides them a more affordable home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I think that if you look at what's going to happen potentially 18 months from now, when rates do continue to go down, if rates go up, the people that bought in the next 6 months are the ones that are going to reap the benefits of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I really think that, to this point about the media, this is the positive side of the media, that economists are coming out and saying that inflation is curbing and, things are becoming, less expensive. I don't know, groceries are still going up.
Eggs! The eggs!
The eggs, I know.
I need to buy my own chickens, but my husband says no. I need to buy a husband.
But homes,
Just kidding.
but homes are really, things are looking up for 2024. I personally think this is going to be the best time for people to buy a home in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Okay, so
I agree with
loan officer for 18 years.
Yeah.
Wait, loan officer, mortgage lender, what's your title? Does it mean the same thing?
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
It's so
if you're a licensed professional, people are going to put the semantics on it. Vice president
you
of lending.
prefer?
I
What do you
prefer
call
a
yourself?
teammate.
Teammate. Oh,
Okay.
that's such
Oh,
a good
I love
answer.
that.
Well, I mean, that's the truth.
It is. I mean, yes, you've been my teammate on 4 transactions this year, and you've been a phenomenal one at that. That's really saved my.
We've heard all
therapist
about you.
Anyway, I was going to ask you though. You've been in this business for 18 years. What is the highest interest rate you've seen, and what is the lowest interest rate you've seen? And do you remember the year that it happened?
Well, the highest interest rate I saw was
Is it this year?
about 2 months ago.
Okay, it is this year.
8%.
Okay.
Yeah.
8% is high. And the lowest I saw was 2.25%.
Right.
And that was in 2021 when.
Yeah. When nobody should have been buying a home.
Yes. That's what they told me.
Pandemic. Yeah.
I know. Oh, will you look up on your phone what was the excuse in 2021 not to buy a home?
Oh,
Because
yes.
they posted it on there, and I'm curious now
COVID.
as to was it COVID?
Was
Yeah.
it I thought it was 2020.
It's like what was the? Who
By
cares?
the way, my busiest years, I've been in real estate for 8 years. My 2 busiest years were 2020 and 2021 when they said, no one's buying a home this year.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
okay, everyone was bored, so they went to buy a home, and Ben and I were exploding at the seams.
Yeah, I got licensed November 2020, and I did not know what I was walking into in 2021.
Oh, it was
I mean,
nuts.
like, hit the fan.
Yeah.
And then I was 9 months pregnant, and I have 4 closings in a matter of 2 weeks. I'm
That's
like,
so
I don't know if I can keep doing this, guys.
So 2021 was mortgage forbearance. Was like the media scare that year.
Oh,
like all
that-
the
What was
forbearance.
2020
Banks came
COVID?
out
When he was
and
COVID.
allowed people
2020
to
was
not
COVID.
have to make a payment for like 6 to 12 months.
I had 2 clients do that.
Oh, yeah,
and
same.
They thought, so I had 2 clients that did that mortgage forbearance. And when we went to go to the listing appointment, they're like, yeah, we did that COVID relief mortgage forbearance thing for 6
no.
months. But it was free money. And I was like, oh no, it's not free money. And I looked like into their stuff through a lender, and no, they paid 30 grand for that couple months that they did the mortgage forbearance that they have to pay off. So it's not free money, and it was actually hurting people, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
okay, so like, for businesses, didn't they get that
Yeah.
same
Ben
thing?
and I did. Ben and
Yeah.
I got, but that was a grant, so that's
They
different.
got a grant, yeah.
Right.
but
Ben
they
and I
have
got
to
a
pay it
grant.
back, though?
Nope, we didn't have to pay it
That
back.
you didn't have to pay
No.
back.
Nope.
So they predicted from the forbearance thing that there was going to be more foreclosures
Yep.
coming after that ended.
But there wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't know. and
Unless
that's
you
why
saw
they're
People want to
scaring
stay in
us.
their home.
I
Yeah.
know. That's why I told Matt, I go, like, we are in our home from 2017. We refinanced in 2021 when those rates did drop to
Yeah.
2.25. And I'm like, okay, we might move, but I'm never selling this house. It's just way too good of an investment now. And I think I tell everybody that if you bought or refinanced in 2020 or 2021, never get rid of
Hold
that
on to
property.
that.
Yes,
Yeah.
because
Use
it's
it as
just
a rental.
gonna use it as a rental. I know.
If you can.
I know. Or like
Yeah.
even like a short-term rental.
Airbnb.
Right.
I have friends that do Airbnb too, and they're killing it. Or VRBO. VRBO, same thing.
Do you get a lot of people that buy investment properties as short-term rentals?
No, not STRs.
More long-term?
STRs are more for like port cities. I mean, Minneapolis
That's the
has
one.
a really good opportunity for short-term rentals or STRs, where
Florida.
people
Certain
are coming in
pockets,
for.
though, I feel like you have to be so, I don't know, particular.
Or like up north. Like
Yes.
Brainerd
Or up
Lakes
north,
Gull
area.
yes.
Lake, Gull Lake,
Like
you know,
cabins.
Whitefish Chain, you know, those are
Cabins.
incredible properties, but, you know, those provide a double positive for investors because you can go up there for a week with your family and spend time, and then
Yes.
the other 3
So it's a
weeks out of the
secondary
month,
home.
somebody
Yeah.
else is covering it.
Lake
Now, you
homes.
are going to have municipalities and counties that are really going to, you know, tighten the screws on these because there's concerns about, you know how people act at Airbnbs, you know,
Yeah.
bachelor parties,
I know.
bachelorette parties. And,
Because now they're screening your, like, when
Yeah.
you submit a request, they're like, okay, why are you staying here?
and then the fees are getting much higher too because
higher,
like you're starting to get the fine print that annoys people and people are going back to spending hotels. But I would even say like even a 1 month rental or a 1 week rental, like those are still incredible opportunities for you to, you know, invest in an asset that doesn't cost you as much. Like in our society, the gold standard in Minnesota is having a second home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
cabin.
if you can have a second home that gives you, you know, some tax advantages and, you know, you can get a better pontoon, you can get better jet skis, you can get a
Right.
better dock, like all of those
your
things. I just, yeah, like people are scared until you talk to some other mentors that are doing it,
Yes.
you realize that the pitfalls aren't nearly as weighted as the advantages. So I would say that that's another bucket that a lot of my investors are buying to have people rent yearly and
Okay.
or even extended.
So as a lender in Minnesota, do you and your wife ever look at buying a second home?
No.
No, never. You guys are just true Minnesotans. You love this.
Well, we have rental properties, but my parents have a cabin and my sister has a cabin.
Oh,
And-
that's the best. You don't
and
have to do the maintenance.
My sister-in-law and brother-in-law also live on a lake. So we don't want to go somewhere else and take time away from those families.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like if we
That's
were
a good
going to get
point.
another investment property, it would probably be like a, you know, senior level or a single level living for seniors or something.
See, I'd want to do something like in Florida, like a condo in Florida. That's like my second home. Matt wants probably
The
a cabin.
insurance right now is so hard. I've looked into
Yeah.
it.
I
The
know, but
insurance-
the insurance and just the cost. I'm like,
Yeah.
And did you know they won't do gas stoves in Florida?
No.
I'm not
Do you know
going
that
there.
that's a thing? Mm-hmm.
You're coming for my gas stove. I'm coming for you.
I mean, I knew they did that in New
I know.
York, but
Yeah.
I can't cook on an electric stove. I know
No.
that sounds weird, but I can't get over it.
That's my tipping point. I will die over my gas stove.
I know.
I
Okay,
have a
so
question-
oh yeah,
sorry. No, you're fine. As a lender, what do you expect from a realtor when working with them?
Well, I have a different approach than most lenders. I look at real estate agents as the face of the franchise. Like, you're the one that has all the touch points with the client. So my biggest ask from agents is to really hunker down and make the buyer aware of how valuable it is to get an underwritten approval, not an approval from a lender. Like, it's nice for me to be able to see docs, but I'm not calling the shots. So I want to take this borrower's information, clean up their application, and then submit it to an underwriter that is calling the shots. So then for them to say, hey, this is all good, we're ready to go. So now we have essentially a cash offer, because the only financial contingency that would be needed is the appraisal, because we've already verified their credit, already verified their income to a T. The underwriter has to a T. We've already verified their assets. So that really helps us position a loan that's going to benefit the buyer in the best situation possible. If you guys are saying, well, like they seem really qualified, that just hinders the experience, because they find a house that they want, and now I have to annoy them for 10 to 15 days when they want to be doing boxes and picking out furniture and doing all those things. So I would ask my team of agents to really talk to a borrower about saying, hey, whoever you're going to use, make sure that you get all the way through the process so we can be a top tier offer when we're ready.
Almost act as like a coach on like going through the correct lending process.
Yeah, and we've had 4 transactions this year where you've seen 2 homes. The borrower's seen 2 homes.
Yep.
And why is that? Because the borrower's completely pre-approved.
Yep.
When Piper submitted her offer, 15 minutes to an hour later, I'm calling the seller's agent, telling them what type of approval we have.
Lenders, call the seller's agents, please, when the offer is submitted.
All the time.
Yes.
All the time. That's the part of the team that we need to do, because the client experience goes down the more homes they see. The more they're in the car with you, they're starting to say like, oh, I wish I would have had that house 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We really want to position that, because there is such low inventory, we want to position this almost like a cash offer, is the way that I would say. Is
So kind of do
what
as
I
much
need.
as you can on the front end. So once you're like at signing purchase agreements, it's like just the exciting stuff from there
Exactly.
on out. Not like all the burden of like, send me your W-2s again and send me the current bank statements.
Yeah.
Like, no, we already got rid of all that. Like,
And there's so much minutia in the lending world that if a client, let's say that they make $6,000 a month, and the underwriter comes back and says that they make 55, that might change their interest rate. Well, all of a sudden the client looks at me and like, oh, Ty, you told me it was going to be this, and now it's a little bit higher, and that's unfortunate. We eliminate all of that by getting the answers right away. So when they're ready to find a house, we can lock in a loan. They know what everything's going to be, and that client experience. Now, the agent can come back and be like, how's everything going? And they're like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Rather than, oh, this is so boring. Like, I got to keep
Stressful.
sending stuff to Ty. And it's not the way to do business in today's world. I think you could have got away with it 10 to 15 years ago, but now it's so much more important.
I have something to piggyback on that too. Like, there's some times where I have clients that I just met and they already said they have a pre-approval from like a big bank, and I'm not dissing any banks, I'm just saying from a big bank, and they go, I got pre-approved, they approved me $300,000, here's my letter. And then I'm always like, did you like actually send in this document, this document, this document? Because sometimes, even when I went to go get my first pre-approval, big bank was like, here, you're pre-approved to $300,000, and I didn't give them anything. Like, I'm pretty sure they saw my bank account. That was it. And I could not afford
Or you just,
something.
you enter in like, oh, what's your salary?
Yes.
Well, I could
Yeah.
lie about
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Right.
Well, not only that, like, I could not I could not afford a payment that high. So I knew to myself, oh, I'm really not approved to that. There's no way, because I can't even afford a payment up to that high. So I really appreciate, and I always tell my clients, like, if they didn't ask for this, this, and this, then we got to go find someone else, because we're just going to be wasting your time, and you're going to maybe go put an offer on a home and then be like, oh, actually, you can't have that home. And then we got to tell the sellers, oh, our offer isn't good anymore, and that just,
Which like just leads to
disheartening.
disappointment, and then it,
Disappointment.
and then it almost like makes you look bad.
Makes the team look bad, right?
Because we
Right.
are the face of the transaction,
Yes.
you know what I mean? And so it's like,
Well,
however,
I would
lenders,
also,
I will say, get the brunt of it, because you're in
Yeah,
charge of
right.
their money.
Yeah.
I mean, when
Call them the
someone's in
bad
charge
guy,
of your
though.
money,
Yes,
I know.
yeah, they are.
no. And
You guys are
I
the
would
bad
say, to your point too, There are really good lenders at big
Yes,
banks.
true, for sure.
And the question that needs to be asked to the buyer is, how far are you in the process? Has your loan officer or big bank, have they gone through the entire process
Yes.
of the underwriting? Because this is the information that these people need to know.
Yep.
Like, it's only fair for a buyer to know what this certain bank is feeling comfortable with. Like,
Right.
I just had a client last week that was working with a big bank, and they didn't have a product option that we had. Well,
Yes.
that allowed the buyer to save $50,000 in his down payment, and it changed his interest rate by a full point. Now, that great bank was doing everything that they could. But sometimes it doesn't hurt to get a second opinion. I believe in it.
Do you encourage people to like shop around in the beginning then, or how
I
would you?
I encourage them to shop on the basis of attention to detail. Like most loan officers, all of our rates are going to be within maybe an eighth to a quarter. But it really comes down to how you're treated. Like if a loan officer gets all of your information and says, yeah, you're good,
Yeah.
You're not good.
you're not good.
Right.
If a loan officer says, I need these items, once I receive these items, I'm going to provide them to my processor, and my assistant and processor are going to work for our underwriting team to have this fully done. So within the next 7 days, you're going to be ready to essentially put in a cash offer. I don't know many people that would say, I don't want to work with that person.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I also look at it too, as loan officers, we have to have respect for our client that the least amount of time that they spend is when you spend less time, you can provide better pricing to a borrower. It's just common sense. You know, the more work that you have to put in, the harder it is. Loan officers might charge more.
Right.
I look at this, that this is a client first experience. If I want to keep doing this 10 years from now, I need all of these clients or buyers to tell more people about me
Yeah.
and tell more people about you guys.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
that's where this team comes in. Like,
Have realtor, I was going to say, what has been your biggest source of lead generation?
Yeah.
Is it realtors or is it call-ins or?
I would say that a lot of it is past clients. It can be realtors. It can be any area. You know, now my biggest lead source is my men's golf league.
I was gonna say, is it your
Yeah.
sphere
'Cause
almost?
it's
because
just
that's like our
talking with
biggest.
people.
That's
Ours
our
is
biggest lead
sphere.
gen is
Yeah.
our sphere of influence, and it's like we just keep building those relationships.
Yeah, and I think it really comes down to how you treat people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that
Be a
there.
nice human.
Yeah.
I don't like that
And a
there is
responsible
division
one.
between real estate agents and loan officers. Like, this is
shouldn't
my
be.
lane, this is
Yeah.
your lane. No, transparency is about, it's for walking the borrower down the right lane.
Yeah.
And I think that we lost that because COVID made us distant.
Yes. We don't
Where-
go to closings half the time.
Yeah, like
yeah.
it's
The
weird
buyers
to
and
not
sellers
see
aren't together
sellers
anymore.
at the closing table and have them shake hands and have them talk about the sprinkler system or a
Yes,
little
the garage
nuance.
door
or-
opener, you just move it like this and then it starts working. Oh, you guys never.
We never got that. No.
What?
Because when we started in COVID times, I've never had
The
like both
closings were
parties at a
separate.
closing.
It was
Oh,
so
never,
fun.
no, because
No.
yeah.
I wasn't even allowed
That
at
is
them
weird.
for the
first
whole
6
first
years,
year.
the
Yeah.
first 5 years of my
I
business,
I
it
was
was
allowed, but
They like
it was always
encouraged
separate.
only the signers
Yeah.
to be there.
They
so
wanted
I
to
went
eliminate the
go.
amount of
there
people
was
in the
that
room.
dumb glass
Yeah.
right here. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, just
Well, wouldn't you like to be a title rep closing for
I
people
would
that
not.
Yeah.
I
Nope.
would not. I know. Like, sign your life away, but behind plexiglass, and it's going to feel really impersonal. But there you go. Congratulations.
Yeah, for a couple $100,000, just sign here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, 3 years later, the glass is gone.
Yeah.
So, thankfully.
And what do you think the number one mistake realtors make when working with a lender? I mean, I feel like it's that communication maybe you're saying, or just like,
Yeah, I would just peel the onion a little bit more. Like you want a loan officer to be on your team because again, you are the face. Like realtors need referrals more than loan officers essentially.
It's true.
There's no doubt. And if a loan officer isn't being transparent with you, you should wonder where the red flags are. Like,
Yeah.
why aren't you giving me this information? You don't need to tell me, you know, how much money they make or what their credit
Right.
score is. You know, legally you can't, but
Yep.
you can definitely make an agent aware of where we are in the process. And this is a really good time for you to have a touch point. I would also ask realtors to be transparent with a loan officer. We had a situation where a client didn't necessarily know a certain area. You know, she was naive to how insurance works. And she was wondering what were the difference in costs. And I explained it to her. And then later on, Piper got a text, 2 hours later that she was like, this flew over my head. If I didn't know that from Piper, because Piper just reached out to me and said, Ty, you might want to, make this make sense for her again.
Yeah.
Coach her
If
a
I
little
didn't
bit.
know that, and we didn't have that communication, that
Yeah.
creates more division, and the borrower misses out. So she told me, I reached out to the borrower the next day, and the borrower was like, she even thanked both of us. She's like, I love how you guys are on the same page for me all the
Right.
time. And that's the way the experience should be.
Yes.
And not just expecting like, oh, well, he's taking care of that. I don't have to be a part of it.
Correct.
It's like,
Yeah.
no, just like talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I think you ladies as agents, you're going to spend more time hand-holding a transaction that you didn't ask for those things up front than if you just
Yes.
make that difficult conversation. If it's the loan officer you don't know, greet them, politely and say to him or her, like, hey, where are we at in this process?
Yeah.
It's a very simple answer. It should be.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Well, so I know our podcast is kind of geared towards agents in a sense, but it's also geared towards the entire industry. So you, as our guest on here as a lender, what would be your number one piece of advice to a newer loan officer? Like, what's the best piece of advice you can give them starting out?
Well, from experience, get out of the bar
Okay.
and get into a book.
Okay.
Because we can't make mistakes.
Yeah.
And this is all the reason why I say I care about these people. These people, it's not just a transaction to me. These people that are buying homes are entrusting in me
Yes.
to help them. So I take personal pride in that. I don't like the idea that because they're working with me that they don't deserve high-level treatment. Doesn't matter the loan amount. So I would say to loan officers, when you're going out and meeting with agents, don't go to bars and don't go out to places that it's not positive. It doesn't help either side.
Yeah.
You need to really work on being the best person you can and provide value. I think like 25 to 30 years ago, it was cool for everybody to connect and go out and have happy hours.
Well, then there's
and
a
have
fine line too,
Yeah.
where like if we go meet up with a lender, I don't let him pay. You're not supposed
Yeah.
to let payment happen or anything. So Ben and we went out to eat with one of our lenders the other 2 weeks ago, and we both paid our separate tabs
Yeah.
because you can't
Yeah.
cross that line. You just can't. So-
Well, and just the line too of like the marriage line for me. It's like
Yeah,
I
same
won't go
here.
meet. I mean, you're probably the only one, but you're like best friends with my husband, so you're a trusted male. But I'm like, I wouldn't go meet a man solo somewhere like that my husband doesn't know. It's just like crossing that. I don't know.
Well, one of my
boundary
mentors
that I'm not
talked to
comfortable
me
with.
about growth, and he said, how are you going to grow with your agent if you're not providing them value?
Yeah.
Going out and having cocktails and spending all night talking about what you're going to do rather than talking about, hey, are you eating the right foods? Are you giving yourself enough time away to be with your family, work-life balance? Like, these are the things that we should be talking about, not
Yeah.
like, hey, do you want to go and watch this game? Like, that's not going to provide growth to the team.
yeah.
No, that's really good. Well, Tyler, we appreciate you coming on today. Hopefully our
Thank you.
listeners could take some little keynotes away. We like to play a little game at the end of our podcast. So
Okay.
it's called, it's called Date, Marry, Kill. Figuratively speaking. But so Date, Marry, Kill, we got some financial celebrities. So we got Grant Cardone, Dave Ramsey, and Gary Vaynerchuk. So, yeah, what do you got?
Well, I would
Whose
marry.
style do you like more?
I would marry Dave
Oh, you
because
would?
he's the most consistent and he has the best principles.
I said he's like the safest choice too.
Yeah.
You know?
He'll help you pay off your house.
Yeah.
Gary would be a guy that I would date because he would be very refreshing. I think Grant, unfortunately, Grant would be killed because Grant's really good at what Grant does, but now Grant is trying to make other people do the same. And he wants you to use other people's money to invest in your success.
Yep.
And I don't agree with that. I think people need to invest in their own money
Yeah.
for their family's
Yeah.
success.
I'm gonna copy your answers like to a T, except for my reasoning for killing Grant is just because he's just too loud. he's too much in your
That's
face. And he's just a little
funny.
too intense. And even though Gary Vee is a little intense, I don't know, he has his soft moments.
He
does
could
have
pick
soft
me
moments.
up in a bad day, though.
There you
Gary
go.
could.
my
I could have a
God.
bad day, and Gary would pick me right up. I don't think Grant would do
He's
that.
got that wine line too.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, just bring over a bottle of cab. Let's go.
And how
So
about you?
So I'm like the exact opposite, you guys. And I feel like I swear I'm not trying to go
you're
against
high
the
energy
grain.
though, so I knew that you were gonna marry
Say
Grant.
mine are
Okay.
different. I'm like,
So I'm gonna marry
mine.
Grant.
yep.
I know.
same.
Well, I love someone that's like energetic and like, you can do this and go do this, and if I follow it exactly, it happens for me. You know, I just exactly what they say.
A little pep in your step.
A little pep in my step. Gary Vee, I would date because I like the behind the scenes stories of him and like how he became successful and he
Totally.
does
He
bring
started
energy.
at the bottom, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I love the story about his mom building him up and that's how he became the way he is. And that's how my mom was. So I just feel like that resonates with me. And I would kill Dave Ramsey. Okay, I wouldn't kill him for his personality or his like Christian beliefs because I love that part and I
Yeah.
love that he does go to churches and teach that. Just for me and my business personally, I like leveraging bank debt.
I feel like
And
you're also more of a risk taker.
I'm
And he is
100%.
He is not a risk
I'm
taker.
a Robert Kiyosaki girl, risk taker, leverage.
Robert
Rich Dad, Poor
Rich
Dad.
Dad, Poor Dad,
Oh,
leveraging debt, cash flowing. Like, let me open this loan and then like have this loan out, this loan out, this loan out, this loan out, but make money for my family in cash flow ways and paying off all those mortgages. And one day I'll have all those mortgages paid off, and it will just be money coming in for my family.
That's kind of the mentality of this guy who redid our kitchen.
Yes, I know him.
Rashad.
Yes.
I know. He is.
Hi,
one of
Rashad,
the
I'll take you in
I
this.
know. He is like one of the most hardworking individuals I've ever met in my entire life. His whole Instagram is just work.
He's crazy.
And he is so disciplined.
Crazy
but
good.
he does all of these loans and all these loans. I'm like, the dude's gonna break $1 million before he's 30.
Oh yeah, he probably already
he's
has.
so smart. Yeah.
He's so smart.
That's the only thing that Dave misses
Yeah,
in
the
our
only thing-
world
and-
is debt.
Yeah.
Like personality wise, I would marry Dave for sure because he's the safe way. Safe.
Well, he talks
Yeah.
about
He's
just
sweet.
principles, and he's very much family first, and he's
Yeah, he
very
is.
much
Which is all
focused
matters.
on your personal debt. But Dave's been bankrupt twice.
yeah.
Has he?
Yeah, that's
I didn't know the whole
Dave
story.
started flipping, and he got caught, and then he used these principles to get out of debt. But now, where Dave's made most of his money is explaining to other people how to be in debt,
Right.
how to be out of debt.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and he's like, don't use credit cards, right?
See,
like
and
at
that's
all.
And
why-
good luck buying a house. one
Right.
day.
But then I'm like, how do you
I've had
build
people-
credit without
Yeah.
having credit cards?
I've had 2 buyers use the Dave Ramsey way,
You
and
have
we
to
went to go
use
buy a
Dave's
house.
mortgage company.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, fine.
So
Weird.
That's why
Yeah,
you're
that
killing him,
works.
Angie.
I'm killing him, even though I like some
Yeah.
things about him. I like
Very
some
good
things
principles.
Yes,
Right.
I like all of those guys. So, woohoo!
yeah.
Anyways,
I'll
Ashley.
I'll date Dave because I like you said I like his like family, Christian, all of his like values there when it comes to money. And I think it helps like a certain person because there's definitely people out there that just like totally like thought credit cards in college was free money. Like I
Yeah.
literally know of friends that like didn't know what the
Oh, I
credit
thought
limit.
that way too. And then
And
$11,000 later, I'm like, Dad, I'm in
Oh, and
debt.
see,
I need help.
I have like literally over 10 credit cards, and I've never ever once left a balance past the end of the month. It goes auto pay, full balance every
Oh,
single
is
time.
your credit 900?
No, it's like close to 8, but
Ben's 827. 829. Ben's 827.
yeah, but I just like I love using credit cards, and it's like something like when my husband and I met, like I was just like, you need to sign up for this one and this one, and he's like, what? And because I'm like, you got to get the miles, and we get free baggage, and then we're getting free trips, and you need 5% cash back here, and I love leveraging that stuff because I
Good
use
job.
it responsibly. Like
Yeah.
I don't carry balances,
yeah.
and like the amount of hundreds of dollars each year I get in cash back, like that's fun for me. So
And shouldn't this be something that should be taught to like every high school student?
Yeah.
Another
I'm like, why are we not
podcast.
teaching? I know, another podcast.
Yeah.
Ashley's credit card life.
Yeah. I'm all about like the points,
How to
cash
be
back,
smart.
rewards.
Well, that's smart.
Well, that's my
nerd
husband.
out-
He's
nerd
like,
out on it.
well, we just used an American Express card, but he's like, Sky Miles, Sky Miles, Sky Miles.
Yeah.
Because then it's like when we do want to take that trip, it's paid for.
Right.
You know, it's just, it's smart.
But the key to Ashley's point is the fiscal responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
don't get caught.
I
No.
never gave myself the option to not pay it off. I didn't put something on because I couldn't afford it. It's like money's in the bank. Might as well buy it here, get 3% back, pay it off. It's just
So
like
smart. I love it.
balance
Like I
out.
saw a reel the other day that was you take the cash option out of a $20,000 card and put it in the bank for 2 months, and that's your down payment on
Yes.
buying a house. And I was like,
Whoa.
oh Lord, don't do
Yikes.
that. Don't do that. You
Don't do that.
Come up with,
I
come
love
up with
your
something
eyes.
different.
Yeah.
Because that is frightening. Like,
Yes, that
It's-
is frightening. Well, because interest rates on credit cards, everyone freaks out about houses, but like credit cards, they're like
23%
way up there.
some of
yours is zero though.
Yeah, right.
Every month, yours
Yes,
is
mine
zero.
Ashley, who are you gonna kill and marry?
Okay, well, I always hear about Gary Vee like all the time, but I know nothing about him.
Okay.
So gotta kill him because I don't know him. Sorry. And then Grant Cardone, he actually spoke at one of our EXP conferences a couple years
Lucky.
ago, and I do love his energy. Like he can be a bit much, and all of those like new things he's doing where it's I don't even know what they're called, where people pay in for the condo
Yeah.
buildings and all that stuff. He does. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that.
But I love his energy and
Yeah.
like his just like business drive, and so I would marry just for that because I feel like it'd motivate me and I'd become successful. 'Cause
There
his
is
wi-
something to
'cause
be
his
said about
wife
that
did.
energy. It's just like,
yeah.
yeah.
Not for Piper.
Not
So,
well,
yeah.
right, but anyway, all right, well, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for listening. Tune in next week where we talk about the importance of collaboration. So stay tuned.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you.
We want to express our gratitude to all of you who have supported us and continue to tune in. Without you, this podcast wouldn't be possible. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes coming your way. Until then, remember to keep exploring, keep learning, and keep listening to She Means Business.